Hi, sweet one. I know you're tired. I am too. And I don't mean the kind of tired that, a good night's sleep or a weekend off can fix. I mean the kind that lives deeper than that, like that bone level, soul level exhaustion, that what is even happening kind of tired that comes from being conscious, feeling awake and human. Being a human trying to, navigate a normal life while the world feels like it's vibrating at this frequency none of us signed up for. That kind of tired. We are living through a moment where the Insurrection Act isn't a history lesson. It's a threat on the table. We're seeing federal agents in our cities, shootings in Minnesota, and the literal dismantling of all of these government systems. It's not just politics. It's an assault on the body and an assault on humanity. And yet, I find myself sitting on the porch looking at a spring that arrived way too early because the climate is screaming at us. And I felt this ache of beauty. And then this guilt. We've been conditioned to think that if we aren't in a state of constant performative misery, we aren't doing the work. We think that the rocking chair is a betrayal of the barricade, and that if we aren't bleeding out for the cause, we somehow become complicit. But let's look at the intellectual dishonesty of that. Who benefits when you are hollowed out? Who benefits when you are the one-dimensional version of yourself? Well, the system does, obviously. The person who is just an activist is easy to burn out. A person who is just the soft girl is easy to ignore. But the person who contains all of it, they're a problem. They are dangerous because they can't be bought and they can't be broken. It's April 2026, and we are living in the after of the illusion of stability, after the dismantling of the current systems. We are watching atrocities take place, and we're discussing them over coffee as if it's a normal policy shift. It is a violent time to have a nervous system. Welcome back to Embodied Divinity. I'm Nikyla Maria. For the first 10 minutes of this, I want you to just stay with me in the heavy. Don't try to fix it. Don't try to light work it away. If you're driving, feel the grip of your hands. If you're sitting, feel the chair holding your spine. Notice the tension in your jaw. Notice where you're holding the things you aren't allowed to say out loud. And just breathe and allow yourself to drop in a millimeter. Today I want to talk about the split. The feeling that when you're being torn between the person who wants to pick up a brick and the person who wants to watch the tulips. I've been sitting with this for a while now, and a question that has been very present in my life is, can I be a whole world in a world that wants me to be a cog? And today we're going to find out. So let's go. I want to start by talking about the cage of alignment. We've been sold this high-level spiritualized bullshit that says there is one true self, and she is peaceful and balanced and always high vibe. If you've been listening for a while, you know that I say, fuck that. The true self is an ecosystem. She's a riot. And lately, I've been letting different versions of me out of the basement. The philosopher who wants to deconstruct why we've let Citizen United turn our neighbors into commodities, and the witty bitch who uses humor as a weapon. because sometimes you have to laugh at the absurdity or you're just going to scream. I've been feeling into the rebel who wants to break every unspoken rule of decorum, and also the sensual woman, the one who is remembering that her body is for pleasure and not just for labor or political protest. And every time I let one of them out, I feel that old voice say, Nikyla, stay in alignment, stay consistent. But what if that's not who I am? What if I'm the entire landscape? We have been taught to perform a version of ourselves that is consumable. But you're not a product. You are a wild, multidimensional expression of the divine. And the divine is not just a sunset. The divine is also the storm that rages. The divine is the destruction that makes room for the new. Which version of you have you been suppressing because she's too angry for your brand or too soft for the fight? We cannot fight for a world worth living from a life we haven't yet bothered to live. If the world we're fighting for is one where people are free and safe and whole, then we have to start being free and safe and whole in our own bodies right now, even while the world is burning. Joy is not a distraction, and pleasure is not a luxury. These are acts of resistance. When the state wants you scared and small and predictable, being luminous and multitudinous is a middle finger to the entire system. Watching those blossoms arrive too early while feeling the fury of the climate crisis, that's literally the work in a nutshell. It's holding the paradox of it all. Righteous fury is fuel, but it's dirty fuel. It leaves soot in your lungs. You need that soft girl to clean the air. You need the witty academic to map the route. You need the wild woman to keep you from giving up. I think there's a lot of intellectual gaslighting happening right now. We're being told to stay civil while the floor is literally being pulled out from under us. We're being told that proper women, especially spiritual women, shouldn't be political, as if politics is like a fancy word for how we treat each other. As if the dismantling of all of these different systems isn't a direct assault on the divinity of the human mind. There's this intellectual trap, this polite cage that says if you're enraged, you've lost your alignment. The rage you feel when you see a woman's autonomy stripped, when you see people being abused and killed simply walking to work, when you see mothers and children and humans being kidnapped and contained and stripped of every single birthright they were given. In the name of what? Freedom? When you see that and you feel that inner fire, that rage is your integrity screaming. It's your embodied divinity recognizing a lie. But we have to find this balance because the system wants you in pure rage. Rage is an export state. It's all-consuming. It burns out that soft, ooey gooey part. It burns out the version of you that can think deeply and analyze. It leaves you a hollowed out soldier. And a soldier with no inner life is just a tool for someone else's agenda. And we've seen that time and time again in history. So when I say I love sitting in the backyard and watching the blossoms, I'm not checking out. I'm reclaiming my territory. I'm refusing to let the state or the news cycle or the algorithm of outrage dictate the borders of my own internal world. Sitting outside in nature is my intellectual protest. It's my way of saying, you can have the headlines, but you cannot have my awe. You can have this perceived sense of power, but you cannot have my ability to perceive beauty. Can you feel the power in that? It's a fortress, and it feels enlivening to all different parts of yourself. We have to look at the history of the body. The state has always been obsessed with the multitudinous woman. If you think about the witch trials, those weren't about magic. They were about property and power. They were about women who knew too much and felt too much and occupied too many rooms within their own souls. And then we see it again in the 1800s. They called it hysteria. I'd definitely be committed by now. If a woman is too enraged by her lack of sovereignty, they gave her a rest cure. They literally locked her in a room and told her to stop reading and stop writing and stop thinking. Today, the rest cure looks a little bit different. It's the doom scroll. It's the vibe. It's the pressure to pick a side, to be an activist or a soft girl. But look at Herbert Marcuse's concept of the great refusal. It's the refusal to accept the one-dimensional life offered by the system. It's being able to reclaim your awe amidst the destruction. Awe and wonder are some of the most dangerous things we can feel because it reminds you that you're part of something that the state didn't create and the state cannot control. And I want to let you in on a little secret right now. There will be more about this later, but while we are dismantling, and I promise you, we are tearing the wallpaper of the walls off of the old world, I am partnering with some extraordinary souls to create a sustainable rebuild. We're actively creating systems of care and building networks that don't rely on the federal government or the whims of the administration. And it's really beautiful. We're building a parallel reality. We're dismantling the old while rebuilding the new. There will be more on that later, but we have to remember that we can't build this new world with the same energy that destroyed it. If we build the new out of pure scorched earth rage, we're just building another cage. We need the softness and the beauty to remind us what we're building for. We need those deep, expansive thoughts, that philosopher part of self to map the ethics. We need the sensualist to make sure the new world tastes like something worth living for. I am tired, and I am enraged, and I am a woman who probably swears too much. A being who loves her rocking chair and watching the flowers. I'm a human. And I'm not choosing, I'm not aligning, I'm expanding. This is your permission slip that you're allowed to be the revolutionary who wants to burn it all down and the woman who wants to bake bread and watch the blossoms. You're allowed to be inconsistent. The multitude is not the problem to be solved. That is the size of your soul. America is at a precipice. The world is heavy, and the only thing that can meet this moment is a person who is full. Don't let them make you small. Don't let them make you consistent. May you be too much. May you be too loud. May you be so complex the system chokes on your name. And may you be soft enough to feel the flowers and fierce enough to protect them. I love you. I'm in the ruins with you. See you next week.